And again, just the pause be after I ask the question. Facilitator and host, what does that involve?
So when I'm facilitating, I sort of facilitator and host that I've put together, because both of those things are about holding space for other people and making space for them to be able to achieve what they want to. And that might be if I'm facilitating a workshop, so I could be facilitating a storytelling workshop or a creative space, or holding an event for people where people are kind of working on different things, or an improv workshop. And so when I'm facilitating, I'm really looking at what are we trying to achieve here? What is going to help these people feel as comfortable as possible? And where do I come in and kind of sort of put those little ideas in that allow them to open up more? So sometimes I facilitate drama workshops for kind of different groups of people. I have a project that I do which is make your own show. So we kind of make an entirely new show out of people's joys and loves. And a lot of that is about facilitating them to kind of really be confident about what they want to say, what they want to have in the show, and to feel that really heard, and then for that to be celebrated kind of in that sort of artistic work. So I think a lot of my facilitation is very much about people already have those things inside of them, and it's about how do I facilitate so they can be more of themselves and bring themselves to it. And as I say, that kind of happens in workshops like storytelling workshops, improv workshops, drama workshops, all that kind of thing. And then hosting is more about there's an event and I'm the person hosting it, but it actually has a similar kind of vibe to it. So when I'm hosting, again, it's very much about what's kind of the energy that we want for this event and how do I support people in doing that. So sometimes I host at festivals. So I'll make sure that if I'm kind of the one that's introducing artists. So it's interesting because what the audience sees is me just coming on and going, these guys are great, But actually what I'm doing is kind of being there backstage, meeting the artists, finding out a little bit about them, how they want to be introduced, what's their kind of vibe, making sure they have everything they need, and then going out onto the stage and making sure that the audience are in the right place to receive that. And some of that is about changing energy, because certainly in festivals you have very different acts, so it's about sort of smoothing that process for everybody. And also, very much about hosting is doing the technical stuff. I was at a festival once, and there was an amazing performer doing a piece of spoken word and the generator went out. So like within 10 seconds I was on stage with my head torch lighting her, and she carried on, So that thing about hosting space is just being really aware of everything that's going on, and it's like, what's going to make this the best for people, and that's kind of something that I do. I can do at corporate events, I do at festivals, even kind of if people have got parties and they want somebody to kind of be the person that just makes sure everybody's okay. And I think that's just the most important thing to me about facilitating and hosting, is holding space and working with the energy that's there and being really aware of the energy and how I kind of mold that for people. And I love doing that because it's really nice to see those people kind of come together and feel like a community and be supportive of one another. And particularly at festivals, that helps, because if things kind of rarely kick off when I'm hosting, because it is about we're all in this space together, So yeah.
And you mentioned kind of face-to-face and kind of festival hosting, but you also do kind of online stuff as well?
Yeah, so like with the improv, with the storytelling, with the drama, I also host so workshops and things online as well. And sometimes just kind of meetings for people to get together and talk about stuff. It can be a creative community, it can be a business community. And again, it's the same thing. It's kind of feeling the energy in the virtual room, which is an interesting skill that I picked up in lockdown, not that we'd done before. But actually, sometimes those virtual spaces can open up possibilities. So one of the things that I love about Zoom is that when you're creating something or you're hosting something, somebody can be there literally if they're in their hospital bed. There is nothing that stops them being in that space. And that feels really important to be kind of, it feels much more inclusive, that space. And so I'm very interested in how we kind of bring that more into things, because I'm really pride myself on, as far as possible, my events being as inclusive as possible. And I think using the virtual technology is really important, to make everyone can be involved.
Brilliant. You're really good at this, Justine. I mean, obviously, it goes without saying with your storytelling that
I'm
you're
good at talking about myself.
Well, yeah, I mean, because usually it's like, a lot of ums and ahs, but you're just
Yeah.
like, blah, 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 blah.
I
Brilliant.
think I'm very lucky because I do what I love, so it's quite easy to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess,
Yeah.
given what you do, you should
Yeah.
be good. Exactly. Okay, so I think that's great. I think we kind of covered everything on that bit. So now.